Hello again, and welcome back to the Slow Flowers Podcast with Deborah Prinzing, episode 511. This is the weekly podcast about slow flowers and the people who grow and design with them. It's all about making a conscious choice, and I invite you to join the conversation and the creative community as we discuss the vital topics of saving our domestic flower farms and supporting a floral industry that relies on a safe, seasonal, and local supply of flowers and foliage. This podcast is brought to you by slowflowers.com, the free online directory to more than 880 florist shops and studios who design with local, seasonal, and sustainable flowers, and to the farms that grow those blooms. It's the conscious choice for buying and sending flowers. And thank you to our lead sponsor for 2021, Farm Girl Flowers. Farm Girl Flowers delivers iconic burlap wrap bouquets and lush, abundant arrangements to customers across the U.S., supporting more than 20 U.S. flower farms by purchasing more than $9 million of U.S.-grown, fresh and seasonal flowers and foliage annually, and providing competitive salaries and benefits to team members based in Watsonville, California, and Miami, Florida. Learn more at farmgirlflowers.com. For each podcast episode this year, we thank three of our major sponsors. Our first sponsor today is Longfield Gardens, which provides home gardeners with high-quality flower bulbs and perennials. Their online store offers plants for every region and every season, from tulips and daffodils to dahlias, caladiums, and amaryllis. Check out the full catalog at longfield-gardens.com. In March of 2017, I wrote a 10-page profile of Susan McCleary that appeared in Florist Review magazine's Creativity issue. It's this article that inspired me to invite Sue to be our keynote speaker at the upcoming Slow Flowers Summit, taking place next week on June 28th through 30th in the San Francisco Bay Area at the amazing venue Filoli Historic House and Garden. Sue's personal story of seeking, claiming, and boldly nurturing her creative process and practice as an artist will inspire and embolden everyone who hears her at the summit. Sue is a floral designer, artist, and instructor who creates unusual, boundary-pushing floral art, including elaborate floral wearables, large-scale installations, and her signature botanical jewelry. Her soulful, seasonally inspired creations have been described as exquisite living artwork. A passionate teacher, Sue offers private design instruction for new and professional florists in her studio, through her online class platform, and at destination workshops. Her work has been featured on the cover of Fusion Flowers magazine twice and in leading industry publications and websites including Martha Stewart Weddings, Florist Review, My Modern Met, Refinery 29, Self, BuzzFeed, Belle Armoire, Cosmopolitan, Ebony, and Grace Ormond Wedding Style. Sue is a member of the Slow Flower Society and Chapel Designers. Her first book, The Art of Wearable Flowers, was released in March of 2020. A few weeks ago, in anticipation of Sue's keynote presentation at the Slow Flower Summit, The Creative Journey, she and I met up over Zoom to record this special episode. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. As I mentioned in the interview, Sue has appeared as a co-guest on 2 past episodes of the Slow Flowers podcast, but that was many years ago. Just for fun, click on over to our show notes for episode 511, which you can find at deborahprinzing.com, and you'll find the links to episodes 217 and 220, both recorded during the fall of 2015 at Lisa Wadd's Flower House Detroit event. I'll also share a link to that 2017 article about Sue that I mentioned called A Curious Creative. And you'll find links to the many ways to study with Sue McCleary. Let's jump right in and enjoy this lovely conversation with a top influencer in the Slow Flowers community. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers podcast with Deborah Prinzing, and I'm thrilled today to welcome back to the Slow Flowers podcast Susan McCleary, aka Passion Flower Sue. And Sue, it's so good to be looking at your face on Zoom, even though our listeners can't see you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be back.
I know it's been way too long. I was thinking about it. You and Francoise Weeks and I did a podcast interview together in 2016 during Detroit Flower Week.
Mm-hmm.
And as I recall, the two of you were making personal florals for a wedding or something the whole time we were talking. You were in that loft. I remember that.
I can't even remember that. I barely remember that.
Okay. Well, it was really fun, but it was definitely kind of like about that, about Francoise and about your, her influences on you. And, we can refer back to that. But all that to say, it's been way too long since our listeners have heard what you're up to. And number one, Sue, you've agreed to be our keynote speaker at the Slow Flowers Summit. It's been 2 years in the making. Finally, we're going to get to hear your presentation in a few weeks at the summit in the Bay Area at Filoli. And it's a hybrid presentation called The Creative Journey. And I was just wondering if you would talk a little bit about it without giving away all the insights or secrets. But the subtitle is Finding Your Artistic Voice, Truth, and Expression. And I don't know, Sue, I just feel like you are such a iconic kind of unique person who really strives to have her own perspective on things and not copy anybody. And I think that's probably integrated into the presentation you're going to give, right?
Yes. So this is going to be a pretty personal presentation. I wrote it 2 years ago, and then I've been reading it over and adding to it and adjusting it since. I feel so passionately that, we are artists as florists, and it's not something we've been told, that we are. The larger culture kind of sees us in a certain way, and we limit ourselves, I believe, because of those views. So, I've been through a lot of kind of chopping through some self-limiting beliefs.
I like what you started to say, though. I've been chopping through self-limiting beliefs because I feel like that script, all women have that script in their head in some way, and maybe men do too, but we can only relate to what women are experiencing
Right.
about what you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to act, and what is your purpose in life. And you've been trying to peel that away and figure out what the truth is, right?
Yeah. So I'm a shy person. I'm an introvert, certainly. So when this passion kind of, when I found it, it was really difficult for me to speak up and kind of enter into the world of floristry. I had things I wanted to share. I had things I was passionate about, but I was very insecure about my own voice. So I feel like if I can help someone else kind of break out of their shell, and offer some of these techniques, if you will, for cracking open my own shell, if I can offer them to other people and help them kind of step out, then that's really what I feel drawn to do lately. I feel like I'm stepping into like the flower mama kind of role. And talking to so many students and seeing, similar themes about feeling stifled creatively or limiting themselves based on what culture expects from floristry. If I can challenge some of those viewpoints and help them step out, that's really what I feel drawn to do.
Right. And I it's interesting. I'm thinking of a little note that you included in the book when you sent me a copy of The Art of Wearable Flowers, and I pulled it out this morning, and it was just quite lovely. You said, this book is meant to inspire florists to see themselves as artists. I want to encourage designers to make what they're craving to see instead of working in reaction to a request. And essentially that's what you're just referring to in terms of changing the narrative, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, because I had to write this keynote, I was honored to write this keynote. I had to kind of think through my thought process. I had to kind of rewind everything and imagine how I felt when I was starting out and how I kind of, grew through this experience. And I can remember so many things. I mean, like word for word, what people told me when I said, I want to be a florist. They told me, you're never going to make any money. They kind of almost laughed sometimes, like, what? Like, really? My mom, I love her dearly, but she said, like, people spend so much money on weddings. Like, why? Like, essentially saying it's a waste of money to be a wedding florist.
Why do you want to perpetuate that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's all of these things that the culture tells us what florists should be. And then, of course, we have our own insecurities as artists, as creatives. So yeah, I'm just all about challenging that. I think we should see ourselves as artists. I think just like chefs, we're working with an ephemeral medium. We have to do things to people's tastes, if you will. But if we're willing to take the creative reins and make things that are exciting to us, we will in turn offer things that are more exciting to the public and get them more interested in what we do as florists.
Yeah. I mean, the next paragraph on this little letter you wrote, it just continues that. You said, after all, it's in sharing our boldest, most boundary-defiant work, which I love that phrase, that will collectively be inspired, thus pushing the art of floristry forward. So you are in that education role where you're trying to infuse this confidence in your students and in your peers to say, hey, let's all push this boundary and crack the shell or whatever, and redefine ourselves as artists. And I know that's going to be an encouragement to folks who are attending, and also, obviously after this summit, we'll have the video available in the fall, and you can reach even more people. But yeah, it's almost like you gave yourself permission, and now you're giving others permission, which is paying it forward.
Yeah, that's really what I hope to do. I want to challenge the public. I want to offer them things that are unexpected and exciting so that they view our work differently. And then I want to encourage florists to take the creative reins so that they can stay interested in their work, stay kind of filled by it. Yeah. And, it's not about having one creative idea, then holding on dearly. It's about opening up to the possibilities, letting yourself explore the things that you're excited about. And once you kind of turn that tap on, that's when, you really start to create work that speaks to other people and fills your own cup as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's exciting. And I know you're going to do 2 demos. One is just maybe a quickie because it'll be at the end of your presentation. And I don't know if you have anything specific planned. Maybe it's just going to be like a meditation in flowers.
I have something planned.
Do you? Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to share the little hack, the little trick that I used to get myself out of my COVID funk when everything shut down and I was so excited to travel and go on my book tour and everything stopped. I know everyone can remember that feeling, like when all the events got canceled and everything stopped. I really didn't know how to turn on the creativity in that moment. I felt really stifled. And then I have this little creative hack that I turn to, and I'm going to share that with the group.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's awesome. And just
hopefully they connect with it.
I think it's going to be incredibly helpful. And, it's so funny just listening to you talk about a year ago, we were together at Trend Summit at Hitomi's wonderful workshop in mid-March of 2020. Yep. And you were not the only one who was kind of freaking out about getting home to family because I was the only one who drove in terms of the speakers. Everyone else flew. Yep. Even Francois flew. And you said to me something to the effect of, wow, this is my first book signing event. And it turned out to be your only in-person one of all of 2020. And it was like high, low, really fast, 2 extreme emotions.
It was. Yes. Completely surreal.
It really was. And this book, The Art of Wearable Flowers, is been just celebrated and positively received everywhere. And it really is an accumulation of numerous years of you experimenting with wearable flowers in a different way, right? And so we're not going to have a wearable flower component per se at the summit, but I'm sure there'll be people who we'll pick up on some of those techniques. And I guess, we're going to have this big day of playing with flowers. If somebody wants to make a headpiece, I'm sure or a piece of jewelry, we'll let them do that. But you're not going to teach that per se.
Probably not. Yeah. But the little hack I'm going to share will hint to some wearable applications.
Good. Well, and we'll have the book there for people to purchase and have you sign if they don't have it already. Yes. And then on the first day of the summit, I just want to touch on this because I'm so excited about it. So Filoli is this amazing 19th century, late 19th century Georgian revival architecture, a country estate kind of inspired property. And we've been invited to do a floral design takeover of this mansion. I think there's 18 rooms. I think we're going to maybe use about 12 of them, but teams of people will get to do some decor in the rooms. But to kind of warm us up and get us excited, you're going to start with I don't want to portray it. Is it a large scale foam free installation? Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's going to really get people thinking about scale and proportion and not being, letting yourself think big when you're designing, mm-hmm. right?
Definitely. Yeah. And the techniques I'll share are really easy to pick up and fold into what you're already doing. And you can combine them and pretty much create anything that you can dream up.
That's great.
It'll be really fun.
It's great. I love it. I love it when there's sort of no rules and you're not designing for a client. You're just designing for yourself and your own pleasure. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone will get to see each other's work. So it'll be inspiring to go from room to room and experience that. And we'll have it photographed so I can share that in the future. Before we get going on some other questions I have, Sue, I think we should just pause. And actually, I would like to ask you to define what is your business right now. What is Sue McCleary, as a floral enterprise, and what are the key facets? Because you've evolved a lot since you and I first met, and you're not doing weddings anymore.
I'm not. No. So quite a few years ago, I realized that, when somebody would ask me a question like, how did you make this? I found myself just so satisfied by, answering meticulously and taking all the time and sharing photos. And it just became obvious that that's really where I like to be. I like to test, break things apart, put them back together, and then share my findings. That's my favorite activity. So,
if you were a scientist, you'd be doing that in the lab. It's like a real nerdy thing to do.
Exactly. So, I just started teaching, it happened naturally. And then I just kept following what felt most right and most good. I'm not a personality that's set up well to do events long-term. I feel like it's kind of a fast life. It's a little too fast for me. I do enjoy it, and I do kind of miss it.
When you say events, I didn't mean to interrupt. When you say events, you mean like weddings and events. Okay. So like productions.
Production. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I haven't pursued weddings in about 3 years, and I've been transitioning more and more to teaching. So I believe it was 4 years ago, I started my first set of online classes, and they went well, which was a surprise. And I'm so thankful for that. But that allowed me to fully kind of move into the teaching realm and let the, studio event florist
side of your business
close doors. Yeah. Happily though.
Yeah. And so now you have a new studio. Have you changed locations? To tell us a little bit about where you're located.
Well, yeah, I have a new studio. I had a fairly large studio because I was welcoming a lot of students. My lease came up last April, and I decided it was really kind of a rash decision, but I decided not to renew because I knew I needed to be closer to home. 2 kids, who need supervision now with online school and so on. So I didn't renew, but I instead got a membership in a shared artist studio space. So it has a shared calendar, and you just kind of map out the days that you need, and then you can go and do your class or your photo shoot or whatever you need to do.
And that's in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, it's maybe like a quarter mile from my house. So
So if you did have a private one-on-one student who wanted to learn, you could have the space accommodate that. But if you want to film a class, you can do that too.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I love that. It's so versatile.
But the space where I work is my dining room.
Oh.
But who needs a formal dining room anyway? Like, nobody uses those things.
Well, I feel like, interestingly, that you started online content, video courses or whatever, I don't know what the right term is, but like 4 years ago. And now we've recalibrated our expectations, and actually being able to study online has opened up possibilities to study with anyone in the world. You don't have to travel. And I'm sure that's been a bump for you, just in terms of the types of people who are wanting to sign up for your courses. Yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of people who have had a pause, happy pause or not so happy pause, but they have the time now to consider floristry. A lot of people are coming from different careers.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of seeing that too, but I hadn't thought about the fact that if someone is trying to, maybe they have come from a different art medium or they've come from a different profession, they've got to self-educate, and taking courses is really the easiest point of entry to get that knowledge, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a couple different products that people can subscribe to or purchase. Do you mind kind of walking us through that? And I'll put all this in our show notes for today's episode at deborahprinzing.com. So if you haven't looked at these options, now's the time to check it out.
Yeah, so I do. I have standalone kind of a la carte classes. I started, like I said, 4 years ago with a set of wearable, tutorials, and then I built up from there. I have bouquet classes and centerpiece classes and large scale installation classes. And I've bundled them all because we have been gathering for so many years. And so they live in a group called the Essentials Toolkit. But you can still buy them a la carte. That's important to me to let people pick and choose what they want. And then I have a membership called the Virtual Studio that is nearly 3 years old now. And that's like a gym membership. So you pay monthly or yearly, and you attend these lives that I offer. And each month there's a new course that's added to the library. So if you joined today, I think you'd have about 60 videos to watch, which is almost too much.
But then it's also kind of at your leisure. You can go back and scroll the library and see what topic is you need help with or something like that.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
So like I said, I have a lot of newer florists who are just starting to do their first wedding events, this season. So they'll go through the library and say, oh gosh, I have to make a corsage. And they'll just like click on the corsage tutorial and just start making it, while they're watching. So it's pretty cool.
So you probably have more than one corsage video, because you call it, don't you call yourself a corsage ambassador?
Yes. Yeah. Self-appointed corsage ambassador.
I love it. Hey, you know what? Say it and it's true.
Yes.
That's really awesome. And so those are sort of two ways that people can, learn from you. And then you said you have something really new that you're launching just yesterday.
Yeah, I do. So there was a missing piece, really. There was kind of the mindset piece that I love to talk about so much, like fostering creativity, stepping into your role as an artist. And beyond that, recently, like in the last year, I've taken some time to learn from some other really amazing mentors. Crystal Whitaker is one, Jordan Manny, and my friend Julie Toby. These are women who are teaching people how to really align their core values with their business, taking all of those threads and weaving them together so that, your everyday actions demonstrate what you believe in. And for me, those things felt separate for so long. I felt like I was kind of struggling to articulate what I really care about. So, I mean, I can't stress enough how amazing working with these women has been. So I've asked them to be part of this new course. So the course is called the Floral Mentor. So it's some of my mentors, the three I just mentioned, but also Hitomi Gilliam and Allison Ellis. And then I've
Wow.
created some content, excuse me, some new content about marketing, SEO. I have Sarah Dunn. She's an SEO marketing expert who has contributed, some Instagram stuff, just kind of like making friends with Instagram. So you can use it to forward, to progress your business. So that all of that is new. And I've kind of sandwiched it with the Essentials Toolkit, and we're packaging it all and offering it later this summer. I think June 22nd is when the sale begins. So if you already have the Essentials Toolkit, you can just decide to purchase kind of the business mindset SEO marketing portion of the course. Or if you don't have anything of mine and you want it all, you can purchase the whole package.
And can you purchase this business mindset kind of core as a standalone, or does it need to be packaged with the other content?
Yes, you can buy the design heavy side, the Essentials Toolkit, or you can buy the new the marketing and the mindset and SEO and Instagram.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love to. I didn't know you were putting this group of awesome co-presenters and co-instructors together. I would love to do that, just because I think it would apply to Slow Flowers and what we're doing. And I'm never going to teach someone how to do floral design, but I need to learn myself some of the things that you're talking about in terms of, we all have kind of had this wake up call during the last year, especially of social injustice and inequity and all of the challenges around race and equity and inclusion. And I feel like those of us who really care about changing the floral profession and our own walk through that are looking for just a little bit of a roadmap, and you've been so good at that, Sue, in terms of using your platform for issues you care about. And it's been a real inspiration to me and to others. And I think you're right. That is sort of in the past, those values that aren't specific about your design aesthetic have sort of been marginalized. Yeah. And you're trying to say, no, it's who I am as an artist. And this is how I can be in the world if I integrate these things.
Yeah, I believe that strongly. I knew that intellectually for years, that I felt like this battle inside. But like you said, in the last year and a half, we've had more time with ourselves to hear the thoughts in our head, telling us, where we could do better. So yeah, I really think, equal to listening to your artistic voice and making things that fulfill you, equal to that, you also, your business flourishes when it's aligned with your core values, because then you're not saying yes to things that you don't align with. You don't find yourself in positions where you feel badly about the dynamics, in the situation. I know I'm being a little vague, but I hopefully think people can understand what I'm trying to say. If you're not recognizing what's important to you and how you want to show up in the world, if you're not clear about that and it's not woven into what you do in your daily business, then you can find yourself in some really uncomfortable situations. And
I think you're right, Sue. And I think that's something that I guess what I draw from what you just said is, we can either be reactionary or we can be intentional. And if we've done the work to think through what are our values and how we want to articulate them, then we can be more prepared to move in the world and state what is okay and what is not okay in, our value system. So it isn't, you can't be casual about it. You have to be intentional.
Yes.
Well, good. All right. I'm going to sign up for that because I love the idea. And I just love the fact that it's kind of best practices now, It's not just some, fringe thing. It's somebody, we know that that's the direction that that consumers, especially younger consumers, really care about, is looking at a company or a professional personality, like, are you authentic and do you walk the talk? So, there's an expectation there from everyone. And so I love that. I just have to say, the fact that you're doing work that excites and moves you, you and I have talked about many times. And I loved that our first collaboration as me interviewing you and writing a story was back in, I want to say 2017 for Florist Review. And it was back when there were a lot of pages given to articles. So it was like 11-page article or something called The Curious Creative, which I'll share a link to that. I have a PDF for people to read. And if you want to look back at sort of Sue's thought process, this will be one snapshot of that. But what blew my mind, Sue, is that it's a trade magazine. They have no money for photography. They expect florists to supply their photos. And you said, okay, this is important. I want to create a whole new body of work that hasn't been published before. And that was incredible that you did that. And are you finding that kind of ties in with your comment about, making what you are craving to see? Are you still doing that?
Yes. I feel strongly that when something strikes you, when you have an idea, when you have an opportunity, like I knew that would be a beautifully written article because I know you as a writer. I knew it would give me a chance to like think through my journey up till then. And so I wanted that to feel special. And I wanted to kind of honor that whole process with creating new work, not just, regurgitating or sharing something that's already been shared. I think we have to slow down a little bit sometimes and, sign on for a little more work. Sometimes it pays off always when you have an opportunity to share something new, that you feel strongly about. I think that always comes back to you somehow. So it's worth the effort.
Yeah. And it doesn't always have to be a budget buster either. I mean, you can probably, do a trade or do some kind of, use flowers that you're growing instead of having to go purchase them. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how you pulled these together. You've been working with Amanda Dumochel. Is that how you say her last name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been working with Amanda for many years, and I know that she took those photographs, and she's sort of been one of your secret weapons in terms of how to put your work out in the marketplace, because you're art directing with a photographer who you trust.
Yes, that's been essential. I think that relationship has allowed me to share my work. I mean, I have to have professional, clear, detailed imagery to be able to communicate, the work I want to communicate. So it's been a huge benefit to me. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about the Sue McCleary feed on Instagram. It still is Passion Flower Sue. I mean, that's probably the only place that name appears now, right? Because you've changed your website.
Well, I do have a passionflowersue.com website. That's where all my online classes live.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And then SueMcCleary.com is really more your
hub,
your books and your blog posts and whatever. Or do you have a blog?
Yeah, I do.
All
yes.
Right. Awesome.
I've been blogging.
Good girl. I'll go back and read some of those. That's awesome. But you have this instantly recognizable visual brand. And I don't know if it just evolved over time, but there's a certain way that you and Amanda produce your images. And I'm sure some of them you're just taking with your iPhone. You're not having, the pro in every time you want to post something, right?
Yeah, that's very generous of you. We used to joke about it being just a white wall, and that's really all it is. All it is a white wall. You can see behind me, I have another white wall.
But there's something about the how you compose it and the light. Yeah. I mean, there's a little more to it than that.
Well, not really. No, it's very simple. So my old studio, there was nothing special about it architecturally. It was in a warehouse, but it had a lot of natural light and a blank white wall. And so instead of painting it a color or making some backdrop or whatever, I just embraced the simplicity of the white wall because I really want the flowers to be focused. I don't want to detract. I see people who make sets that are exquisite, but for me, I just like the simple clarity. So yeah, it's just a white wall with a side light, natural light coming from the side. And then I just position my flowers so that they hit the light just right. And that's it.
And
yeah.
you've become an excellent hand model because your hand is or arm is in most of those images.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I just flip the camera towards me so that I can see what I'm doing.
Wow.
It's a very simple thing to offer right now, but people ask about that a lot because they'll hold up their hand trying to get a flower and, they can't really see what the light is because the camera's not flipped towards them.
Right.
But if you flip your camera around, then you can really catch the light just right and get more detail.
It's because there's a camera on both the front and the back of a phone generally. So you're able to do that.
Well,
like
if you flip the camera towards you, then you can, you can look at your subject in the camera while you're shooting it.
Brilliant. I never thought about that. Geez, so simple.
So simple.
Well, you are working on a new book. So before we wrap up, I'd love to have you share what you can and how people can get on your mailing list so that when it's available, they're the first to find out. Because there's probably a few more seasons of production before it's actually available, right?
Yes, I have a lot of work to do, in fact. Yeah. So the next book will not be focused on wearables. The next book will be focused on how anyone who's vaguely artful can bring flowers into the home and create special things, from little tiny meditative things all the way up to designing for a smaller kind of party. So it'll probably be called Flowers for All because I love the idea of working with things that aren't, inaccessible, like florists. Often we choose to work with the really juicy, precious things that only we can get. I'm working with some juicy, precious things, but also a lot of easily accessible materials.
Just like everyday things that you would cut out of your garden or pick up.
Yeah, out of the garden, from the farmer's market, from local growers, from the greenhouse. And
Flowers
encouraging people to bring flowers in. So
I love that. So Flowers for All. And are you shooting for a 2022 or 2023 pub date?
2023.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, with the amount of photography you probably have to do.
Yep.
Well, we will wait for that. That's so exciting. Congratulations. And is Amanda shooting it?
Amanda is not. Amanda is so busy. I'm working with a new photographer who I've known for quite some time. Her name is Emily Berger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she does cookbooks for the same publisher. So we're all familiar with each other. So it's a great relationship.
I've seen her work, and that's wonderful. And these will be vignettes of real spaces in interiors. It's not a studio kind of shot. So it'll be a different visual for you too.
It will. And I've challenged myself to use only seasonal and U.S. grown flowers.
Great.
Mostly local, mostly from Michigan.
You know how happy that makes me. That is terrific. And that's cool. It's like a sort of a little footnote through the whole book that people will, you're not hitting them over the head with it, but you're just kind of pointing out the story of every choice that you make. So exciting. Right. Oh, my dear. Okay. Anything else you want to tell everyone before I let you go? Because this has been a delightful conversation, and I can't tell you how happy I am that you're coming to the Slow Flower Summit, Sue. It means so much to me.
I'm very excited too. I have to say, I can't wait to give this speech because I've been thinking about it so much.
Now that was not my fault. That was COVID. We had to postpone by a year.
Right.
But I'm with you. Yeah. I'm excited that it's happening, but I'm really excited to pivot to 2022 and like check this box off because I feel like I've planned the same conference 2 years in a row, like on repeat.
Right.
But
yeah, I'm really excited to be there. The other designers that are coming, there's quite a lineup. So I'm thrilled to be among them. I can't wait to hang out with old friends I haven't seen in a while.
Yep.
And inspirational people. Max Gill comes to mind. He'll be designing as well, which is super exciting. I can't wait to work with all the locally grown flowers that are being gathered for this event. It's
going to be awesome. Well, thank you so much, my dear. I look forward to seeing you in person in about 3 weeks. And we are, what you have to say is going to be obviously very personal and unique to you, but in some ways, I sense that there's a universality that we're all seeking to know this about ourselves. So I think that that's the door that you're asking people to step through, to redefine who you are as a creative in whatever work you do, and not just flowers, obviously. And that's going to be something that I will take with me as, just to cherish when I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. So maybe your hack will help me too.
I hope so.
I look forward to seeing it.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Sue. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As Sue mentioned, she launched a new course yesterday on June 22nd called the Floral Mentor. I'll have a link in our show notes to learn more. For 1 week, you can sign up and receive a free gift from Sue just for checking it out. In this course, Sue and her cohort of friends and colleagues help you master the art, the heart, and the business of floral design. It's all about aligning your core values with your business, Sue explains. She'll introduce students to her wonderful mentors who teach valuable lessons that Sue has learned from each. Together, they will help you create the art you're truly capable of, build a fulfilling business you love, and join hands to move the floral industry forward together. I can get behind those aspirations. Maybe this course has your name on it too. Check it out. Our next sponsor thank you goes to Red Twig Farms. Based in Johnstown, Ohio, Red Twig Farms is a family-owned farm that specializes in peonies, daffodils, tulips, and branches, plus a popular peony bouquet by mail program and their Spread the Hope campaign, where customers purchase 10 tulip stems for essential workers and others in their community. Learn more at redtwigfarms.com. If you're heading to the Slow Flower Summit, you're in for an epic treat to learn from Sue McCleary as she demonstrates large-scale, foam-free floral installation techniques that will kick off the Filoli Floral Takeover. And then you'll hear her keynote presentation on the creative journey. It's all happening next week, June 28th through 30th. And if you're not able to attend, be sure to follow Slow Flowers Summit on Instagram and Slow Flower Society on Instagram, where we'll have some occasional live presentations, little sneak peeks happening from Filoli. And next week is also our 7th annual American Flowers Week celebration, June 28th through July 4th. Please help us celebrate. You can find all the free social media badges, logos, branding, and other resources, like a coloring map of all 50 U.S. state flowers, at AmericanFlowersWeek.com. Show your floral patriotism, post photos of your red, white, and blue bouquets, or any other color of your seasonal and local floral harvest. Be sure to use the hashtag AmericanFlowersWeek when you post. I'll be doing just the same, friends, and I look forward to seeing what you post. Our final sponsor thank you goes to the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market, a farmer-owned cooperative committed to providing the very best the Pacific Northwest has to offer in cut flowers, foliage, and plants. The Growers Market's mission is to foster a vibrant marketplace that sustains local flower farms and provides top-quality products and services to the local floral industry. Visit them at seattlewholesalegrowersmarket.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. The Slow Flowers podcast has been downloaded more than 738,000 times by listeners like you. Thank you for listening, commenting, and sharing. It means so much. As our movement gains more supporters and more passionate participants who believe in the importance of our domestic cut flower industry, the momentum is contagious. I know you feel it too. I value your support and invite you to show your thanks to support Slow Flowers' ongoing advocacy, education, and outreach activities. You can find the donate button in the column to the right at deborahprinzing.com. I'm Deborah Prinzing, host and producer of the Slow Flowers podcast. Next week, you're invited to join me in putting more slow flowers on the table, one vase at a time. And if you like what you hear, please consider logging onto iTunes and posting a listener review. The content and opinions expressed here are either mine alone or those of my guests alone, independent of any podcast sponsor or other person, company, or organization. The Slow Flowers podcast is engineered and edited by Andrew Brenlin. Learn more about his work at soundbodymovement.com.